What's up, YouTube? It's Juwan Murphy again with Primegold. And today we talking about code entry 5, detachment. And I want to just tell you about how I detach. So you can see we out in nature right now. We at the Santa Fe Dam, just enjoying nature, enjoying, the birds chirping, enjoying, hearing running water. And man, it's perfect. It's like the perfect therapy. So why detachment? Why is it important? Man, detachment is important on so many levels. It helps you actually take a step back and see if you're making progress or not. And also you get to analyze, which ways to go about things the next time. So that's why detachment is so important, and it brings clarity to my life at least, and bringing clarity to my life is so important because I don't want to just be, wandering around and just doing things just to be doing things. I actually want to, make my life, meaningful. I want to live a life fulfilled. So yeah, man, this is so important, detachment, taking a step back. Um, you know, what is it? Like, what really is detachment? Detachment is just, taking some time for yourself. Take some time for yourself, and really being in the present moment. Really being in the present moment to understand what's going on and take whatever it is for what it is, Um, so, why, what, who, who it's for. You know, Attachment is really for for people who want to, get to the next level or, not even who want to get to the next level. It could be for anybody, man. It could be for, you know, people who just too controlling. It can be for people who just dependent on, on drugs, man. Detachment from drugs, Uh, people who scared of success, people who got fears, man. You gotta detach from them fears. You gotta detach from all these things. That's keeping you back. That's keeping you in that place where you feel like you can't grow. That's why you gotta detach, man. Detachment will allow you to grow. If you never detach from your mom, you gonna always be on that umbilical cord. And I don't know if you're gonna keep growing, man. You still gonna be, a little fetus. But yeah, man. For the most part, you gotta detach, man. So that's who it's for. For the person clinging on to hard things. And when to use it, man, you want to use detachment. You want to use detachment when you feeling clustered or frustrated or unsure, unclear about things. That's when you use detachment. Take the step back and be like, damn, is this really meant for me? Is this really what it is? Or it is what it is, but you know, is this really meant for me? Is this my purpose? Is this the right direction? So that's what detachment is. That's how I use detachment. I take a step back. I go into nature. I go to the gym. Those are some of the positive ways. But then you got some negative ways. You got some negative ways of, detaching. Some people detach by playing the game all day. Not good because you not using your mind. Another way, smoking, drinking. That's another self-destructive way. We destroying ourselves, and if you smoking or drinking still, I really would advise you to stop doing that. You know, and I'm not gonna tell you how to live your life. If you can function with it, that's cool and everything. If it helps you, that's the way you detach. You do that, it's cool. But you know, for the most part, you know, there's some positive ways you can detach. There's other ways you can detach. And yeah, man, just take the step back, you know, and really analyze if the situation is right for you, you know. Sometimes as people, we get too attached to, you know, certain people, you know, certain connections that we have. Some relationships ain't always good, you know, and we become dependent on these relationships, and you know, everything that you need is already inside of you. Everything that you need is already in you already. And don't get me wrong, um, we do need people at the end of the day. You know, God didn't make people to be independent people. He made us to be um, codependent people, you know, basically meaning that I need you, you need me, you know. Um, you have something that you can offer, I have something that I can offer you, and we exchange in return, you know. And that's cool and all, that's good, but still taking that step back, you know, taking that step back just to see if, not even to see, like, this is only when you absolutely feel like you need to do this, because, you know, I'm working, you know, 14-hour days sometimes. For the week, I'm working like 40, 50, you know, 60-hour weeks, 70-hour weeks, you know, whether it be video recording, you know, doing my workouts, you know, doing my actual work, you know, actually filming, recording, editing, you know, script writing, thinking and coming up with ideas. And that's the best way. That's why I detach a lot of times. I detach because I need to be creative. It brings me into a creative space, you know. It makes me more present in that moment, to make me understand that I have an infinite, you know, I have an infinite mind, and I have an infinite mind in that, you know, my creativity is always there. So that's one of the main things, or one of the main reasons why I detach from a lot of things, because I understand that, you know, everything is not gonna happen overnight. You know, everything is not gonna happen in one day. But, you know, I do as much as I can in that day and get as much work done in that day as I can, and then, you know, I unplug. I gotta take a nap. You know, I gotta go get some food. I gotta go, you know, go to sleep or something like that. But, you know, I'm only going to sleep when I'm like exhausted. I ain't going to sleep when, you know, just because. I'm going to sleep when I'm exhausted. But yeah, I like to read. You know, I like to read, go to the gym. And these are some of the best ways that I detach. And this really helps me, you know, this really helps me level up all the time, man. I'm growing every single time when I do this. And I see it, you know, even with the people, you know, when I see certain people not going in the right direction, or they're not aligned with the things that I want to do, man, bro, I just take the step back, man. There's no point. You know, I'll let you keep doing what you do. You know, you can go down that way. Not me though. You know, what did Jesus say? Jesus said the path is what'd he say? Jesus said that the path is straight and narrow. You know, and most people, they going down the road that everybody else going down. Not me, man. I got a different purpose in this life, man. I know I gotta be something in this world, you know. And I got somewhere to be all times, man. Yeah, and it's always something I could be doing to better myself. So, um, yeah, man, that's detachment. You know, I don't want to talk too long. I don't want to be too long on here, you know, just yapping away. But if I gave you some value, like, share, comment, subscribe, do all those things, you know. But really, if y'all could like this post, man, that really would mean the world to me, you know, just to, you know, let the algorithm know that y'all paying attention. So like this video, man. Please like this video. And, you know, if y'all can subscribe to, you know, let's get this YouTube turned up, man, as we grow. You know, right now we just detaching from, you know, all the negative sources in our life right now. and we're gonna connect into the positive ones. And that's what it's all about, you know, making sure that we connecting into the right energies. Yeah, you know, and connecting, disconnecting. You need both of them. It's the law of duality. You know, you cannot have one without the other. So yeah, man. But as long as you connecting into the right energies, as long as you connecting with things that enhance your life, you know, things that are enhancing your life is big. You know, that's gonna get you to the next level. Like I said, tapping in with a mentor or a coach. You know, eating the right foods, you know, doing better daily habits, reading better books, you know, working out, doing all these things is connecting into the right, you know, places that you put your energy into. And that's gonna take you to the top. So, like I said, if I gave you any value, like, share, comment, subscribe. And once again, I'm Juwan Murphy. This is Primegold. This is code entry 5, Detachment. And I hope you guys, you know, stay safe out there. I wish you all nothing but the best.